Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Rage Across New York. In this particular scene, Havaka has invited Sam to a nearby coffee shop that his Raya showed him a few days ago. He's aware that Sam is going to be leaving the SEP soon for his own personal duties, and he also knows that Sam, being a glasswalker, has more things he can do in the city than Havaka does. And wants to give him as much convenience as possible by meeting him in the city. He remembers the right ways to go, though he still is a bit in awe of just how many people are in one place and how much, not necessarily as most of his people would say Weaver tech, but just technology in general. And seeing a world in a position that he's never really saw it before, not only inside books and tales from his family. But right now, he knows that regardless of modern or not, a shop is still a shop, and asks to sit at a simple table waiting for a friend of his.
Sam for his part, he doesn't dilly dally too much. His presence has been requested, and he's very polite and has good etiquette. and and so yeah, after not too terribly long of waiting for Sam, he'll he'll show up. He'll walk in through the front door of the cafe with two like baggage items. These two, well, like they got wheels on them and handles, much like airport baggage. Um, and he takes a second getting them through the front door, and um, yeah, he'll wave to Havoc before getting a cup of coffee and coming to join him.
So Havika gestures back, and once Sam seats, he sees Sam will see a cup of just a cup of water in front of him, and the occasional scrupulous looks from the staff because he only gets the free stuff because he has no money. But once Sam sits down, he'll just simply let him get comfortable first.
Mm. So yeah, he'll cozy in and he'll smile at Havoc and say, "Oh, it's good to see you again. Sorry I've been so absent lately."
But he simply nods his head and goes, I heard you're going to be leaving soon, so I wouldn't be too surprised.
I've been helping a park just across the bridge in Newark, New Jersey, um, as part of my fostering challenge, and well, things have been quiet around the sept. So between that and my recent decision to leave, yes, I'm afraid I haven't been reaching out as much. My apologies.
It's not a problem. But we always have to be constantly moving. Our enemy won't wait for us.
Mm,
But I'm glad you're able to take this time with me.
me too.
And I hope your challenge is going okay.
It is the community park that they have there is seeing a lot of progress, and the glasswalkers over there are they're a very family oriented bunch, very very physically affectionate.
Hmm. Oh, that's good. I,
Takes some getting used to, but but it's very heartwarming, very wholesome.
good. I wish you the best. I technically failed my challenge once before I passed it.
not unheard of.
But I do have a bigger purpose for our meeting today.
All right. Is everything okay?
I'm here to check up on a decision that we made months back. You still hearing the voice of that particular individual?
Sam kind of sits up a little straighter and has like a contemplative moment of pause, and then nods his head yes.
Havika begins messing with the strand of one of his hairs and will state, it's not a very easy game to play with that. When I told the others about the voice as well, they were, quite understandably concerned. And as far as I can tell from what that person was telling me, it wasn't nothing that I couldn't learn.
I see. You, I'm sure you can sympathize. I know that, and I know that you and I aren't the best of friends, but I know that we share a bond in our lust for knowledge.
And he nods at that. But that's the thing. Lust is typically of like excess of something.
This is true.
I'm not Uriah or your family, so I'm not going to tell you to do anything. All I'm going to say is to be careful.
He nods and he lets the silence sit for a second as he sips from his cup of coffee, and after a moment he says, "Do you still hear them as well?"
No, I exorcised its presence from me.
Wow. Did it require a theurge or?
He shakes his head. It was purely a mental effort. So I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to make that available to you.
Well, thank you. How would I, uh, how would I go about it? Do you think?
I simply told it to leave, and after a few moments of arguing, it did leave. And I haven't felt the presence since then.
Sam nods. Well, at least whatever it is polite.
Uh, if it is what I think it is, I think it's trying to be, or he's trying to be, I don't know. Maybe the right word is polite. I can't really say.
Right. Well, if it's the he that I'm thinking of, and he lets that sit for a second as he kind of searches for the right words to say, and and then follows it up with, "I think there's, I think you've heard me say it before, but I think there's more to this. And if I'm going, part of me is a part of me is very hurt by my own actions, if only because I don't get to sit out the rest of this mystery being solved. And I think that given given that he has saved my life in one instance, I I feel that there's more to learn there with that particular individual.
I don't deny that that individual may have resources that we could use, The problem is, I don't know if we can truly understand it without compromising ourselves.
Sam nods.
And not only that, we can't tell if this person is truly in the right state of mind.
That's another thing. Probably the most likely scenario. But should you and the Sept of the Green solve this grand riddle, um, would you do me the kindness of texting me or calling me and letting me know?
Uh, I would have to get a phone, but yeah, I could do that.
Sam reaches into his pocket and pulls out his wallet. He'll pull out. He'll pull out. Yeah, no, he'll pull out $200, like worth of in like 20s and 50s, and he'll fold it in half and offer it to Havika.
Havika will look a bit, I guess, a little dumb, like not seeing that much money before, really, in his life. Wow.
Oh, hang on a second. You're a little far away from your mic.
Sorry. No, Havika will look a little dumbstruck, not used to seeing that much money in his typical life. Um, I I thought phones are not that expensive. I'm confused.
This is true. Um, you could get a cheaper one, but there are a lot of resources available on a smartphone by connecting to the internet. And I don't know, maybe if you find yourself skilled at them, there's a lot of information at your disposal, and if there's anything I'd love to give the gift of, it's information.
He will take the money gingerly and will look at it for a moment, just kind of letting it sink in what you're giving it to him. Then he'll state, "I never bought anything like that before."
Have you ever worked with a computer before?
Yeah, my father made sure that we knew how to use them on at least a basic level.
It's a it's a lot similar, but involves the navigation is a lot similar. I think you'll be able to intuit it well, but if not, I'm sure the other members of SEP will be able to assist.
He nods at that, and then he'll state, "Uh, this the phones that he kind of gestures to the rest of the shop and the people. They are not aware of us, right? At least not unless somebody wants to make them aware of us."
You're asking if they're listening in on our phone calls?
I guess. My father told me people listen to phone calls, but I'm more worried about grandfather Spider listening on our phone calls.
Mm. Understandably so. There are some of our enemies that can do it as well, but as far as I've as far as I've heard, I have no definite sense, but a vague sense. Um, I know that often we speak in vagaries and codes. Um, Anything that gets sent should have some amount of vagary in code.
And he nods at that. I just I just know older things. They aren't. The soul of the item isn't aware of our situation, but I wasn't sure about other technologies.
Mhm. Um, Often older technologies do get ignored. Of that, you are correct. But anything that is connected stands a chance. And there is a web, a thread spun by the pattern spiders connecting one to the other. So always is a risk.
Okay.
But with this, it'll be more than just to hear from you from time to time in the goings on of the Sept. It'll help you connect to the other members of the Sept.
Yeah. Most people have phones. They don't use walkie-talkies or different type of phone lines anymore. Uh, I appreciate the gesture. I really do.
Of course, anything for a fellow scholar.
I wouldn't call myself a scholar. I'm willing to learn what's available to me.
And Sam laughs a little and says, "Fine, then I'll call you a scholar."
And he'll look around the shop for a moment, a little, and I guess in a way, absent-mindedly, kind of taking taking in the people around them. The fact that he knows that their movements are mildly stilted by their mere presence, choosing to only give fair glances in our directions and not preferably walk to us, except for the occasional brave barista may be concerned about our position at the moment. Then he'll look back to Sam and go, "So what's it like dealing with them? I've never really hang out. Um, I never really spent time with typical people. This mainly kinfolk."
Sam nods and takes a second to choose his words very carefully. He says, "I think it's as difficult as you may imagine, um, though at times a lot easier. Not everyone, people generally don't run away from you. They they can be very rude, though I think it's not because of what we are, simply the place where we live. Um, New Yorkers especially seem to have a mentality of if if I leave you alone, then you leave me alone. Sort of mutual misanthropy. Maybe that's the wrong word, misanthropy. But no, there's some genuine kindness out there. It may surprise you the level of love that a species so ignorant can harbor. It's I've made my life's work out of that. The column that I write for the New York Times is under the premise um, that most people don't know the impact that they have on the environment, and I give people tips on ways to lessen their impact on Mother Nature and as they call her. But no, they're just as versatile as us, minus certain advantages. Um, they're They're fantastic. They're fantastic.
He looks a little puzzled at that statement, but he just says, I, my father told me stories of just the history of his tribe dealing with the common people. It was always very pragmatic and almost standoffish. And as far as I can really say, with my tribe, it was more symbiotic, but I always felt like we all knew, even if we weren't exactly the same, what the big picture was. I guess with that turn of phrase. But with the city people, I'm always concerned that ignorance on really both mine and their parts may cause conflict.
Of that, you are absolutely correct. And I'm confident that it's even more of a may cause conflict, and I'm certain that in at least one instance it will create conflict. But it's something that us born on two legs, as well as those out there, normal people, um, excel at is we adapt and we strive to conquer adversity. And if we can find a middle ground, and I'm confident that between ourselves and between them, we can.
Okay. I guess I'll continue my interactions with them. I'm mainly just, what's the word I'm looking for? Observing them from time to time. I least Seth than just walk around the city, typically through the day. Just
Sam Sam smiles widely at that and leans in and says, "That's how my tribe began, you know. The legends say that the he lowers his voice to make sure. You know, they're already pretty. You know, they already have a wide berth from other people, but he still lowers his his voice because he can't help himself. He says, the Alpha tribe. They say back then in the early days, the Alpha tribe ordered ordered what would become my tribe to keep an eye on them and to learn and observe. And eventually, we integrated ourselves with them. Many believe to our own detriment, but I don't believe so.
Avaga simply nods. Well, all I can say at this point is, I guess, as my father told me, whether or not I care for the normal people, I have to live. I have to live with them. There's simply just more of them.
Mhm.
I'll try to make sure my relationship with them is positive, at least.
Instead, Sam nods. He says you're wise to exercise caution, as they they do amongst each other. But when the moment arises, if someone asks for change for like a 20 or something, if uh, if you're able to oblige or offer an act of kindness, or I sound like a unicorn, but if uh, if you can spare a moment to help your fellow man, as they say, more than likely you'll find yourself rewarded.
He nodded that. There's a sense of empathy in that, as he understands that statement. So, as he nods, he will kind of look outside for a moment, um, to the door and seeing just the people bustling, and he'll stand and say, "Well, I better not hold you any longer. Yeah, maybe I should do some people watching and figure out where I can buy a phone at."
Sam nods and stands with him, pushes his chair back in, and as they're kind of standing there in the cafe together, he'll offer a hand to Havika, and a very warm smile.
He will take it, and it will be a firm handshake. And he actually returns a smile, not necessarily with the same passion, but still very genuine.
Thank you for the time that we've shared, and I wish you further success. And if there's anything I can do to assist from a long distance, you should have my number. Oh, here we go. And he'll he'll hand him a card with his number on it.
He'll take it and again pocket it with the money. He'll actually make sure the number and the money are intertwined before he puts them back in his pocket. Um, Before he leaves, or more or less after he says that, he'll go. He goes, um, "Hello, honey."
He he nods respectfully, and he pauses a little longer than he probably should. Um, um, yeah, he'll actually yeah, no, I'll give it to you. The look on his face is of it's appreciative, but there's a little bit of confusion. He doesn't understand.
And he'll simply say, he goes, "Happy hunting."
And his smile is bolstered. And he nods again. He says, "If I am successful in my hunt, you will hear about it in the form of the demise of Big Pharma."
He nods to that. uh, Havika will open the door for him for Sam to leave, and we'll just say, he said, "I hope that your challenge goes well, and you further yourself with Gaia."
Sam Sam responds to that by going in for a hug.
There's no resistance receiving the hug as he hugs him back.
We'll meet again someday. Of it, I'm certain. We have on that day, we'll have a lot of knowledge to share.
Indeed, we do. And yes, and I guess before he leaves, or I guess they separate, there is a you make sure he keeps eye contact on him before he receives releases the hug, and say, "Be safe, and don't let that thing take you."
I will. Thank you, my friend.
With that,
And
no, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna. I think I was gonna say pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, with that, Hanzuka will begin going in the opposite direction, looking, just taking in the sights for a bit, and occasionally um, talking to a person, asking about asking directions to certain places where he could obtain the smartphone that Sam told him about.
When Sam heads in the opposite direction, he wipes a misty eye away before his emotions can consume him, and wheeling out uh, wheeling out luggage. Another hand. He turns the corner and holds his hand out and hails the cab. As once he gets in, the cab heads over the bridge to New Jersey, and I believe it is there that we can end our scene. Thank you, thank you, Werewolf, for having me. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Thank you, player, for playing. And we will see you all again next time on another edition of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.